Hello everyone. We meet again in our segment, Chat with Martin. Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, parents and children. This is a very sacred relationship, a relationship of flesh and blood. Throughout our lives, we make so many sacrifices and endure hardships for our children. In return, no matter how our children live, or how much they try to repay us, it can never make up for the immense effort of the parents who gave birth to and raised them to this very day. However, towards the end of our lives, during the stages when we become, elderly, or in our final years, we should try not to say the following 4 things to our children. The first thing is, never, ever blame or resent our own grandparents and parents. There are so many people who, when they have free time, will sit around and complain, saying, you see, back in the day, so many people went to become lawyers, or they joined election campaigns so that later they could become congressmen, and their children and grandchildren could benefit and have someone to rely on. But our grandpa, he stayed home and toiled on the farm, and in the end, his children and grandchildren got to enjoy nothing. None of the, blessings from him until the day he died. He didn't leave anything behind, just the shell of a house or a tiny, minuscule little garden plot. For example, every person's life in every stage will have different difficulties. If we resent our grandparents, if we blame our parents, then we are essentially teaching our own children how to blame us. Later on, if our child feels dissatisfied with something, or they don't succeed at something in life, they won't realize that it's their own mistake, or they won't recognize their own responsibility. Instead, they'll just think of a way to blame their parents. That is, to shift the blame. It's for our own good. It's because Dad didn't become a rich government official. It's because Dad didn't become a rich businessman or merchant. Why did Dad only become a teacher? Or why was he just a laborer, making my life miserable now? So, well, every family has its own circumstances. No matter what our parents and grandparents were like, we still need to acknowledge our gratitude towards our ancestors. We must never express blame or disappointment or negativity about them, because by doing that, we are teaching our own children to turn against us. The second thing is that we live with each other, with our wives, with our husbands, for 35 years, 40 years, 50 years already. We've been through the hardships. We've been through the suffering. And we've also had our moments of happiness. Life has its ups and downs. But towards the end of your life, try to never complain to your children about your spouse, or talk about your wife or your husband with such bitter and negative words. For example, some women often tell their children, living with your father, I wasted my entire life. Or, if only I hadn't married your mother, I would have been well off. Marrying your mother has held me back my whole life. Things like that. Or, what a complete waste of my youth. Or a waste of this life. A waste of one thing or another. I think that is not a good thing. You don't know if your children truly sympathize with you in their hearts, but they are thinking. For instance, if the mother says, I've suffered my whole life living with your father, then the child starts to think, so why didn't mom find a way to free herself? You knew you would suffer your whole life, so why did you just grit your teeth and endure it? I've suffered my whole life living with your father. Then the child starts to think, so why didn't mom find a way to free herself? You knew you would suffer your whole life, so why did you just grit your teeth and endure it? So why did you just grit your teeth and endure it? If you endure your whole life, what do you end up becoming? You become weak and cowardly. If you've already tried to endure it, then just let it be. If you do share, you should do it in moderation. For instance, you could say something like, It's true that everyone has their own destiny. When I married your father, the only thing he really had going for him was his gentle nature. He's a kind man, but he's not very quick on his feet when it comes to making a living. That's why our family was never very well off. But the good thing is, your father loves you kids very much. Just an example like that. So, if you're going to mention something bad about someone, you should also try to find one good thing to say. That way, you can, let's say, give them some credit. Because, after all, that's your life partner we're talking about. The person who's been by your side for 30 or 40 years. If you just tear them down, if you speak ill of them, it doesn't make you look any better. It's like the old saying goes, their shame is your shame. It's not like if you go around bad-mouthing their father or bad-mouthing their mother, that you're going to win your children over to your side. We're not in a battle, so why would we need to pick sides, right? We are a family. There will be times you're happy and times you're not. They'll just say, if you weren't happy, why did you two stay together for 40 whole years and have 3 kids together? So, keep this second point in mind. What you shouldn't say to your children is to not say harsh things about your partner to your kid. The third point, you should also try not to say unpleasant or negative things to your children about their siblings. All 10 fingers on a hand are different lengths. In a family, say you have 2 brothers. The older brother might be sharp and hardworking. He is well behaved and does well in his studies. Throughout all his years in school, he was always an excellent student. When he took his exams, he passed at the top of his class. And after graduation, he was lucky. Born smart, graduated at the top of his class, and got lucky right after school. He got a good job, always working for foreign companies with a high salary, everything going smoothly. Plus, he has a young, beautiful wife and lovely children, and has already bought a high-end terrace villa, something like that. Meanwhile, his younger brothers, life is full of struggles and hardship. After graduating, he couldn't find a stable job, and his income is also low. To make matters worse, he ended up with a wife who's lacking in one way or another. Sometimes we tend to complain, hey, at least we have child to save us. If they were all like child B, we'd be done for. Or, well, at least this family can hold its head high because of daughter. See, if she were like that daughter, D, her parents probably wouldn't. Nowhere to hide their faces. This means that right in front of our children, we say these discriminatory things praising one, putting down the other, or complaining about the other one. None of it is good. People always say, no one wants to be compared to an outsider, let alone their own sibling. And when that comparison comes directly from their own parents' mouths, the children feel incredibly bitter. And from that bitterness, what can it lead to? Conflicts between them, jealousy towards each other. There have been mothers who spent all day praising the older child while disparaging and criticizing the younger one. Then one day, when you're sick and in pain, the younger child will say, Mom, why don't you call my sister to come take care of you? My sister is your favorite. After all, everywhere you go, you say she's your pride and joy. As for me, I'm just your shame. Right. By then, it'll be too late for regrets. It'll be too late to apologize to your child. Remember, all of your children were born from your own flesh and blood, and the matter of luck in life being successful or not yet successful, it also depends on many factors. What do the old sayings tell us? The right time, the right place, and the right people. So even for siblings from the same family, each person has their own. People have different fates. As the elders have always said, it can all come down to a slight difference in their birth time, right? Born on the same day, but at a different hour, their fates can already be different, let alone siblings in the same family. Right. So, for those of us who are fathers and mothers, the elders also say that heaven compensates for life's imbalances. If even God makes up for someone who is at a disadvantage, then how could we, as parents, not do the same? We must love them. We must compensate for what they lack. We must protect those children who weren't as fortunate, who face hardships in life. Remember to balance things out for your children. But balancing things out doesn't mean you secretly hide things and rob Peter to pay Paul, taking from the son who is to give to the younger one who is still naive and facing difficulties that must be handled with great tact. Avoid the situation where the well-off child finds out that every time he gives his mother money, hoping she'll eat well and spend it on herself, buy medicine and take care of her health, his mother doesn't dare to spend any of it. Instead, she hides it and saves it. And then, from time to time, she secretly slips it to the sibling, who is still facing many difficulties. Because if that well-off child later finds out what his mother's intentions are, he won't support her anymore. Really, the final point I just want to remind all of you is that every child is your child. We gave birth to them, so we love them all the same. For the one who is fortunate, we can love a little less. For the one who faces more struggles, who is not so lucky in life, we must love them even more. Don't speak such poisonous words about your own children. Finally, don't say negative things, words of complaint, or bitter words. Fortunate in life, then we must all the more love them. Don't speak poisonous words about your own children. And last, lie. Don't say negative things, any words of complaint, or bitter words about this life. Really? They say that our bodies are a gift from our parents. But suffering, happiness, hunger, or fullness, that's up to us. Whether this life is beautiful and bright, or dark and depressing, is largely determined by the lens through which we see, by our own perspective. It's like going to the city. For a person with a positive view, they'd think, you have to admit, this is wonderful. In the city, it's crowded, it's fun, it's bustling, with houses side by side, and the stores are just overflowing with goods. If you want to eat something, you can get it right away. Anywhere you go, you can buy it. But for a person who sees life through a negative lens, they just see people, nothing but people, and traffic jams all day, long and in. So many thieves, so much crime, and environmental pollution. So, isn't it true that for the very same issue, if we look at it from a bright angle, it will appear bright, and if we look at it from a negative angle, it will appear negative. So, don't speak of life with bitter words. People will judge you for it, won't they? So, you can absolutely think it in your own heart, but you can't let it out. You can't share it with just anyone, and especially don't tell your children that life is bitter. Because when you teach them that, you are teaching your children how to see the world negatively. Please remember that if you go with bees, we learn how to find fragrant flowers and sweet nectar. If you go with flies, we will find sewers and toilets. Let's all strive to be like those bees, heading in positive directions so that we can see a brighter life. We've already lived for 50 years, 60 years. We only have a very short journey left. Let's live as healthily, calmly, and confidently as possible, without speaking bitter words. There's so much more I'd like to share with you all. But in this short video, I've only been able to touch on a few things. I hope we can come together again to talk about the many issues surrounding the lives of older adults. Goodbye for now, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.